In our previous session, we had killed off the son of a noble family who had dealings in the criminal underworld. As revenge, our dungeon master had the noble family hire someone to kill our characters. The idea was that each of us would get shot at once while we were doing some various unremarkable things. One character was shot and down, but he was in a temple, so he was ultimately okay. The other character avoided getting shot, and then there was my character. She was critted. Now, we're level 4, and so didn't have a ton of hit points. I've been rolling so badly on level ups that I only had 22 HP as a warlock with 2 constitution, meaning my average level up roll was a 2 on my D8 hit die. I'm pretty sure the DM just forgot about how low my HP was because the crit dealt 46 damage. So, I'm just dead.
My eldritch magic is unstoppable! I will... Uh-oh. Wait, are you dead? Oh. Hey, should I have used the smaller sword? Oh, God. Oh, I didn't mean to... Oh.
Thankfully, through Warlock patron shenanigans, I was brought back as a revenant, and now I'm set on a revenge quest to utterly annihilate this noble family, so it's ultimately not the worst thing ever. The DM realized he messed up and apologized, so there's no hard feelings or anything like that. He also has level up to level 5 at the end of the session, and I rolled like 7 for 9 more HP. That said, DMs, maybe double check your player character's hit points so they aren't perma-killed from literally one attack. It is so important to know your PC's stats and abilities in general, no matter what you're doing, no matter what the game. It's a lot easier to build encounters when you know what you're building for. That said, great, come back there with the Revenant. Very good idea, DM. Well done. I've got a story for you about an absolutely disastrous Halloween one-shot my group just played. August might be a strange time for that sort of thing, but we're all going to be busy for the next few months, so we decided to run it early. The game was Dive, a horror-themed system inspired by movies like Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, and The Abyss. Fun fact, my grandfather worked on that movie. Anyway, Dive runs off what is called the panic engine, where players are constantly accruing stress points whenever something dangerous or otherworldly occurs in their vicinity. Stress doesn't matter much at first, but it snowballs super easily if the players aren't extricating themselves from the situation fast enough. Whenever the warden calls for a panic check, the players roll 2d10 and hope for a result higher than their stress total. If it's not, they panic, roll 2d10 again, add their stress total, and consult a big bad table of nasty effects. All that said, we had not extricated ourselves from the situation by the end of this one-shot. We had piloted our little rusty submarine, a la Iron Lung. Great game, by the way. Very much recommend it. And looking forward to the Markiplier movie based on it. Anyway, yeah, we used our Markiplier Iron Lung down near crushing depths to access the final area of the ocean floor. Our group is attacked by a giant bioluminescent eel, a la Subnautica, which began to tear at the vessel's exterior. The DM called for everyone to make a panic check, and everything immediately went to crap. You see, there's a class in Dive called the Consultant, which gives you a bonus to all of your character's stats and skills, but at the cost of giving every other member 1d5 stress points whenever you panic, which is hilarious, by the way.
Report! Sir, the hull is breached! What are we to do? We'll take heart. We will repair the breach. Ensure that this ship does not fall. That's probably impossible. Repairing the breach would only damage it further. Well, we will find a way to escape the ship so that we don't all die. Considering the tumultuous waters outside, we'd all just die from drowning. Okay, look, I know your job is to, project the factual facts of the situation, but the men here, they need hope. We do not wish to die gasping. We need to be courageous and power through this. Well, if it makes you feel any better, we won't die gasping. See, there you go. Yeah, we'll freeze to death first. I mean, it'll probably be, way worse, because, hypothermia, it's just a bad way to go. But, I've heard you lose, feelings before.
Their skill sets made them extremely desirable to have on the crew, but my group rolled up with 3 of these consultant characters. The DM would have caught this, but 2 of them were on total radio silence about their characters before the session started. So we were stuck in a little tin can with 3 characters that were about to make the situation 1,000% worse. We roll our 2d10 to check who panics. Most of us do, on account of stress accrued off the consultants frequently panicking. We each roll our next 2d10, add our stress totals, and the DM starts consulting the panic table. Some of us are screaming hysterically, some of us are stricken with homicidal rage. My character rolls above 29, has a heart attack, and instantly dies.
What's going on?
He's faking it.
No, something's wrong with him.
After this panic check resolves, the consultants begin doling out 3d5 stress to the rest of the crew, averaging about 10 per person. Then everyone sees my character die and make another panic check. Most fail and panic, gaining 2d5 stress points off the remaining consultants, and now we're left utterly insane. That all said, the giant eel finishes its turn. The survivors wrestle for dive suits over my dead body. One jumps out the hole in the ship's side. We're just ignoring that by all the laws of physics, the sub would have been crushed upon being punctured. Anyway, they're trying to swim manually 1,200 meters to the surface in a full dive suit, with a homicidal party member jumping after them while suitless, and they're instantly killed by the pressure? I'm assuming that means pressure. The other two panic again upon seeing that, gaining more stress in the process, and manage to eject themselves from the situation of the sub to live out the rest of their days on an alien planet which can't support life, and they'll probably just kill each other. Overall, not exactly what any of us were hoping when we came into this one shot. It ended up being less Jaws and more a slapstick clown fight where the big monster sneezed at us and our hearts exploded. Well, oh well. I'm thinking about running something more low-key for these guys and Wraith the Oblivion around November to make up for it. Hopefully it goes well and I won't have a reason to send you a story about my own game. Wishing you the best, man. I absolutely adored the temp too. I'm glad that you did. But anyway, I will say that this is probably not the fault of the system and more the fault of the composition. Most game designers are not balancing their games around super class stacking. Like, you could do it, but it usually makes the game a lot more of a burden for the players and for the dungeon master. Like, man, I don't even want to think about what a party of 5 druids would look like in Dungeons & Dragons, and clearly here, this consultant thing was not meant to be stacked with most of the party. However, if you're gonna do any crazy class stacks or any nonsense in general, if you want to trifle, a one-shot is the best way to do it. I don't think you should be purposefully annoying, but one-shots are a great tool to just screw around sometimes. You don't need to deal with the burden of a long-term campaign, and it could let the Dungeon Master experiment and learn a bit. Though, of course, make sure to tell your DM in advance, because even in a one-shot, unwarranted trifling is still quite annoying. Short-time listener, but as the title suggests, I have a D&D annoyance story more than a horror story. For the sake of privacy, I'm changing names and going with neutral pronouns that won't be mentioning their spouses, as who knows, they might listen and figure it out. I'm gonna be real, bro. The amount of people who have figured it out and emailed me, it's an amount higher than 0. So I'm in a long-term group that's a mix of in-person and online, and then mostly online after certain events in late 2019 and early 2020. I've been with them for a few campaigns, even finishing one notably long campaign with them, but keep coming into momentary conflict with the DM's spouse. Let's call them Quincy. Now, we're all older, 25 at youngest, me being in my 30s, and with Quincy and the DM being the oldest by at least a decade. I've had moments where Quincy will overstep their spouse and pretty much become the DM/DM focus for a moment. This is most notable towards me of all people, because I guess we naturally don't have personalities that click, but it comes off as childish every time from them. The first notable time was during a heavily modified version of a 5th edition campaign. I was explaining, in character, my character had heard of a spell, a rather high-level spell, that would be very hard to see randomly. My character is talking about this in the context of helping an NPC when suddenly Quincy accuses me of metagaming, and not just like a, hey, how would your character know this? More like they cut me off mid-sentence and said, oh, where'd you hear that from? The god of metagamers? In a very condescending way.
Sir, I've heard of a spell of legendary power through the rumors and taverns. Ah, my friend, the spell that you seek can be learned by... Wait! Metagaming filth! Wait! What? He was metagaming! I'm an NPC, I barely know what that is, but like, the point is, I mean, okay, he was metagaming, but like, How did you hear of this conversation? Well, you know, I heard it above table and realized that it was a meta conversation. Is that not metagaming? What? You know, sounds like metagaming to me. Did you metagame just no.
Quincy doesn't know where my character is from, never asked, and clearly never read the short paragraph of backstory I wrote, and had cleared with the DM, and to this day, they probably couldn't even tell you if they opened the campaign notes, since they didn't realize my character has been to one of the biggest magical cities of the setting, and grew up literally less than a week's journey from it, as well as shares a class that can do this spell at higher levels. I simply shut up, because I didn't want to start a fight, especially with the DM's spouse, and the DM thankfully moved on before the situation became awkward. It was a very jarring situation, as I was relatively new to the table and wasn't acting like a big shot, just said, "Hey, what about this super spell? I hear it'll be able to help you," before being interrupted. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an angel, but I do not think I did anything that warranted that. Quincy has then done this several more times over the years we've played together. They'd always take the lead suddenly and speak to me condescendingly, suggesting my character wouldn't know that, or interjecting with information that someone already said. Within our newest campaign, where it's the spouse who's running the game, it was after the session went to break and we got on a tangent about something while waiting for the DM to finish their thing. The subject was something super nerdy. I was bringing up an example from something I'm super knowledgeable about, and again, I was about to reveal something that's kind of specific when Quincy once more chimes in to say with that same voice, "Yeah, we already know about that. DM told us 10 minutes ago before the session." But something that the DM didn't mention when they were covering the subject. I went back and I told them what the DM actually did say, but again, I just shut up and let someone else guide the conversation, because even dumber than an argument over D&D is getting into one over a subject of this nerdy thing while taking a break from D&D. Okay, counter argument. Y'all nerds get in more dumb arguments than any group of people on the planet. Some of you guys, you need to chill. If not for the fact I like the game, and even Quincy when they don't act like this, I'd have left and found a game somewhere else. Because honestly, I don't think trying to talk to them would help, as they seem like they'd pull the "respect your elders, Okay, respect your elders? You don't turn into some wrinkled sage when you turn 40, my god. You people are so weird with aging. But then again, I am completely immortal, so maybe I'm the one who's weird. This is all from my experience, including one time they did kick someone out of the group where I was present because the person was being familiar without going into any creepy territory. I especially don't want to put my friends who invited me to the table, well, I don't want to put them off, as it would seem like they're recommending disrespectful people. I'll probably leave for another campaign or two, but yeah, it's getting to the no D&D is better territory due to this one person. That sucks. You're right, this is more of an annoyance story, but it's still annoying. Like, it's not fun that you have to deal with this person constantly arguing with you. No one likes being argued with. I can't really name many people that would sit here and go, "Yeah, I really like being constantly corrected at the table, and I love when my conversations outside the table turn into a fight or an argument. It's great." Look, I'm not recommending deception, but just saying, "Hey, I'm really busy right now. I'm not going to be able to come to any more games." That's perfectly reasonable. There are plenty of ways to leave the game without making things awkward for the DM, their spouse, or the friends that invited you. Yeah, this isn't the worst thing ever, but it's a continuous problem that hasn't been resolved. And if you're so certain that they wouldn't listen to your feedback, then they're not friends worth having around in the first place. You're just creating more of a problem for yourself by staying. Leave, and it'll be better for everybody involved. And if you don't think you need to leave, then talk to them instead. There's not a middle ground there. Longtime viewer of the channel, I've got a story for you that I've been thinking about for a while after watching your videos. I'll say right now, I really should have listened to your advice, but live and learn, I guess. So basically, I joined an online D&D 5th edition game through a looking for player post on D&D Beyond. They lost a player and need someone to fill in, particularly a healer and a woman. Makes sense. All women are healers anyway. The only women that go to war can't be warriors. Women can't even wear...
Incel Crispy down. Bring in the replacement.
Anyway, I know I should have seen some red flags, but I read on, and it said it was to balance the table. Anyway, I went for it. I had a call with the DM. He was cool, nice guy, told me about his world and answered all my questions. I got in. I was playing a dwarven cleric. This would be the first time as a magic user, but he said it was chill, and he'd help in any way he could. Now to lay out the issue, the cast of these unfortunate events. First, the cleric is me. Rogue is a super nice girl. She just wants to steal and cause a little bit of chaos, not vital to the story. Fighter's a chill dude, had a cool backstory, but also not an issue. His fighter was the looks like he could kill you, but was a cinnamon roll type. Warlock fighter, funny, loud, but fun to play with when he wasn't trying to talk over everyone else. Paladin, one of the problem players, seemed real. Oh, come on, another Paladin problem player. This guy, stop! I'm starting to think that all these people are just like shadiversity in different colored hats. Yeah, the Paladin seemed nice, but was really not good with letting go of control and was a rules lawyer in a bad way. Druid was the other problem player. Toxic, manipulative, main character syndrome, and had a character bleed problem. The DM was also the problem. Rule of cool, but only whatever he thinks is cool. So here are the highlights. 1. We did a fetch quest for a wizard to get some griffin feathers. We had to get on this high cliff where the nest was. Me, the rogue, and warlock were going up. The rogue had something to help her fly for a certain amount of time, and the warlock transformed into a giant eagle. Somehow. Anyway, I rode our warlock up to the cliff. The paladin suggested we make a makeshift saddle, so I had more security when going up. It sounded good to me, but the warlock vetoed it because he was a slave beforehand and had to wear a saddle or something, so we just went on without it. We got up there, did the thing, and then saw the griffins coming back. Before we got down, the paladin said he was going to go back to the city since he was no longer needed. So he got on his horse and just rode away. He then left the call. It was awkward, and I thought he was joking, but yeah, he did not come back. I think we stopped there, and the DM said he talked to him. Next session, he and Warlock have an in-character fight, which sort of got out of character, but we all got over it in the end. This was Paladin's first blow-up moment. 2. Druid always got in everything no matter what was happening. She had to butt in to be like the mom of the group, but the mom that nobody asked for nor seemed to think as such. Mind you, this game has been going on for at least a year and a half before I came in. Everyone seemed to just let it go, but it was obvious people didn't like it. They would get quiet and just let her talk and talk. Oh, and Druid and Paladin got into a fight over me healing her. She didn't want his help or his mansplaining. Dude just wanted her to not die of poison. Mansplaining 101. Dude, I'm a woman. We thought they were all kidding until there was cursing and screaming. She also called Paladin by his real name. It was insane. She left the call telling him to screw off. We were all silent for a moment before the Paladin said he needed to go cool off. Again, the DM said he talked to her. Druid blew up again. I don't remember why, but it came out of nowhere. She left the call and the DM said again he talked to her. At this point, each game we played gave me anxiety. I wondered who's gonna lose it this time. In between all this, my character was doing little to nothing. When I tried to heal, the druid would just give out good berries or the paladin would heal. I stand back and let them attack while I throw out some blessings, but it was just not good enough. The paladin tried to help me with my spell choices for battle, which was very helpful, you know, until I wasn't doing enough healing for his liking. Eventually, the paladin and druid became besties? How? It was over their similar religious beliefs. That was great news. Now they're working together to be the most obnoxious people at the table, along with Warlock, who became the druid's boyfriend in-game. Hey, you know, here at Crispy's Tavern, we are lovers of enemies to lovers. Like, quite a bit, actually. So you know what? They have my support. I feel like I will need to rescind that support soon, but you know, we'll see. The DM would try to keep the peace by staying out of it and talking to the players afterwards. This only helped for like a game or two. He also made all the NPCs arrogant pricks that if you insulted or disagreed would just threaten to kill you. There was a wizard in every city that had godlike powers and was a tool the whole time. Also, every encounter seemed way above our level. Homebrewed werewolves that hit like a truck and had Misty Step, a mind dragon that almost instantly killed the warlock. We were always outnumbered and outgunned. At level 10, I think we won one fight without quote-unquote help. I was pretty discouraged for the most part. Now, 7. The last straw was when he told us to roll up some characters for this one shot in the past of the campaign. We had to choose certain classes to fit in the game, and it was actually really fun. I made this awesome barbarian. She was sweet but deadly. We had to help these guys save more townspeople. We got all the way to the top of this tower and fought this evil wizard. We won. It was sick, you know, until the rumbling. We heard a dragon was being released, and out 2 rogues stabbed and killed the others, leaving me to be eaten by a dragon. We were supposed to lose, apparently. The fighter and the paladin were playing as rogues that betrayed the party. We were not told this, and it sucked. The DM and the paladin were just loving it, of course. He flippin' called the DM a god for doing that. Ah, yes, DM. I give you praises for letting me betray my party and murder them all. Yes! Some people, man. When I got off, I cried. He said we might see these characters later in the game. He lied to make it feel more real. My husband was pissed when he saw me bawling over this, and that was just the last straw. I told him I had a scheduling conflict and need to leave. The worst part is that he didn't really seem to care, nor did anyone in the group. It honestly felt horrible until I saw the reaction. I'm still with my main group, and honestly, they are amazing. I should never have took them for granted, and will never do that again. Hope this wasn't too long. Keep up the good work, Plague Rat. I said in a previous video that I've become a believer in PvP and the fun it can bring, and that is true. I had a PvP session that was amazing, probably one of the best games I've ever run, but that was a tournament battle royale where nobody died. I've also said that PC death is really fun, but you gotta clarify that's possible in the first place, and having a random betrayal be the catalyst for that, it's just not going to be very enjoyable. I said earlier that one-shots can act as a fun place to experiment. There's less long-term consequences, but that doesn't mean you can just act like a dick and get away with it. Like here, the one-shot just stacked up all the other problems she was having with this game. She felt like she was walking on eggshells, and while I haven't felt like that in a D&D game, I have felt like that in other situations, and let me tell you, that sucks. A crappy one-shot was the straw that broke the camel's back, and honestly, I think that's for the best. I'm glad you have another group where you can actually have a good time. Hey, that's a wrap. If you guys enjoyed, then you might enjoy the latest episode of Q and Play. Had some fun questions about Paladins, linked in the cards. But before you go, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe to Crispy's Tavern so you don't miss any of our content as it comes out. And finally, if you want to leave your own stories or thoughts, go down in the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment. That's not metagaming. To let me know you made it to the end of the video. Hey, by the way, if you have your own horror stories, you can send them directly to us. There's an email down in the description down below. Send stories our way for a chance to be featured in one of these videos. But hey, even if you don't have any stories, in essence, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Farewell.
Take heart. Oh, goodness gracious. Incel Crispy down. Incel Crispy down.